So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other, learning from a different presenter each week. And this morning, we're so fortunate to have my good friend Tony Taylor presenting about the sound money and inflation buster. That's the topic of the session today. So I'm just going to turn it over to Tony. If you don't mind, Tony, tell us a little bit about your background and why this topic, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Rini. Good morning, ladies. Always a pleasure to be here on the Coffee Talks. And like Rini, it's early here too. I'm in Canada, and I'm on the West Coast. I used to be on the mainland of Canada, but last year we moved over to Vancouver Island, which is one of the biggest islands here just off the coastline. It's a very beautiful area. If you've ever been up to the northwest, that's probably for sailors, this is probably the San Juan Islands, the Gulf Islands is like in the top three of the best places to sail in the world. So we're very blessed, and I'm very grateful to be surrounded by such beautiful surroundings. But with anything that's happening, we still need to take the time to really understand what's going on in our world. And it's something, one of the things that I've always been an entrepreneur all my life. So thank you really for asking me, what's my story? What's that all about? Like, how did I get into this topic, for heaven's sakes? Um, well, long and the short of it is, I was in the golf industry. I was a high performance coach for 30 years with the LPGA. I actually am still a member. I'm considered to be a life member of the LPGA. I still dabble in that particular arena because I still have a lot of people that reach out and go, Coach, I'm just kind of going, oh, what's up now? And I don't know. I always had this magic touch to be able to tap into people's essence. I was a very intuitive coach. I know that sounds crazy when you're talking about golf, but I was a very intuitive coach. I didn't have a system. I didn't have a method. I just got to know the person. I just got to really figure out who they were and what their gifts were and their experiences. And I pulled their experiences and their life and who they were into their own game. So what would work best for them? And we hear this all the time online, don't we? So I thought, oh, I could take this online. So I thought I could be this online coach. And well, let's fast forward that didn't go so well. And, because there's a lot more to just hopping online and doing your shtick and then, oh, everybody's going to come, right? I mean, I think you all understand that. I think you all realize that it's a very big world in here, just like it's a very big world out there. And why did I become popular, let's just say, in coaching, is because I built relationships. And when you come online, that's exactly what you have to do again. And this is why I'm so grateful for Rini and what she created here at the Coffee Club, because this is what it's about. It's about building relationships and getting to know different people. It always will start with relationships. And so it's, the fact of the matter is there is no fast track. Okay. I don't know about you, but it takes time to build a friendship. It takes time to get to know somebody. Right. So I just wanted to thank all of you for showing up today. Early ones, later ones, it doesn't matter. You're here, and I so appreciate seeing your faces and coming here to support Rini and myself and all the ladies that share every morning. So this is a big thing for me. So I want to high five you, because one of the things that I teach everybody is that we don't high five each other enough. Okay, we don't celebrate the little things. You can't even believe how important that is. The little tiny steps mount up to the big step. You can't get to the big step unless you do all those little things that are uncomfortable. So speaking of uncomfortable, that's kind of my journey of how this all happened. after coming online, I kind of, was doing different things online, and I just wasn't really feeling as fulfilled as I was when I was, knee to knee with people or working with people. And then of course this whole crazy world turned upside down, and it really got scary. And we talk a lot about, working on your spiritual essence, your mental, your emotional, your physical, but nobody talks about financial. My husband and I have been entrepreneurs our whole lives. My husband, and you talk about you talk about an entrepreneur. We're fearless. Let's just go with that. And probably maybe too much so, because we have lost it all more than once. And 15 years ago, we lost everything. I mean, everything. Okay. So now you're talking about people that have a young son. He was 9 at the time. We had houses, we had a company, we had employees. We lost everything because of some crazy stuff. Anyway, but it's funny because the attitude was, well, that's one big bag of lemons. I guess I said, we got a lot of lemonade to drink. So you just don't know what's going to happen. So through this journey, we realized there's no such thing as failure. So let's be very clear about this. I never believed about it when I was a coach in golf, because everything in life is just an experience. It's just an experience. And you can either rinse and repeat what it is that you're doing that's going well, or if it's not going well, you've got to stand back, reflect, and go, well, that didn't work out so well. Where can I pivot? What is that I can do to adjust? Okay. And pivot, and then take the next step again. And sometimes, yeah, hey, let's be real about this. Easy to say, not exactly easy to do, right? I mean, it can be crushing. And I'm looking at a lot of amazing faces on this page right now, on this screen of mine. And I know you all have a story and can understand exactly what I'm talking about. We have all had to pivot. Isn't it interesting though? Why does it always have to happen when shit hits the fan? Pardon for my French. Why is it that's the only time we seem to wake up? A bad relationship, emotional trauma, physical trauma, relationship, whatever the case may be. Well, I'm here to share with you right now, we're about to walk into some serious financial trauma. Okay. But I am not worried about it at all. And I think some of you are already feeling that financial trauma. So that's why Rini invited me, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor. Let's be very clear about that. I'm only going to share my experience and just letting you know my journey as a businesswoman and my husband as an entrepreneur is that there are certain things that we need to start really thinking about. We have spent way too many years. I've witnessed this with all of my friends and family, people who've come to my tea. It seems to me the ones that really feel steadfast and sturdy in their financial matters are entrepreneurs. Okay. No, they're not looking out for anybody else to look after their financial welfare. Okay. This is a really big pivotal moment right now. And if, everybody keeps talking about, oh, just do something, just start something. I've been doing something on the side. We've always done 2, 3 things at the same time. I know that's not everybody's jam. I get it. That's okay. But you are all gifted in something. And I can't express it enough. If you're not doing that something right now, find something that lights you up. Okay. We have been depending way too long on other things. I'm going to go government, JOBs, right? And they're all purposeful. Don't get me wrong. The reality is we still need to pay bills. But how much of your time and effort have gone into supporting their dreams? Okay. We all need to start realizing we have got to start looking within us and find the solutions within us and with each other. This was the whole point of Rini's coffee chat. We have beautiful coaches in here. We have so many different subject matters that people are sharing. There's also different, products and services and all this kind of stuff. Okay. I'm not here to sell you on anything. Let's be very clear about this. I just really want to empower you to step back and really take a look at this economic landscape that we're now facing. This is no longer 2008. What happened in America in 2008 did not affect the world. It only affected America, and not all Americans, just the general public, because we all remember what happened on Wall Street. Okay, big bonus checks for failing. Isn't that interesting? Why would they get bonus checks if they didn't even do their job? Because the last time I checked, if you didn't do your job, you were getting the boot. Okay, it's very twisted inside out and upside down. This is why I encourage you, if you've been thinking about anything, outside of that typical box system, which I like to call a debt slave system, but that's just me. They have hoodwinked us into this system that it rewards those who really shouldn't be rewarded. So I encourage you, if you've had a pull to do anything, I hope that this will inspire you. And again, I'm not here to sell you on anything, and I'm not here to fearmonger, but the reality is you've all felt it. You've all looked at your bank account. You've all gone to the grocery store. You've all gone to the gas pump. Okay. These prices in our life now have gone out of control. Okay. It's called inflation. I didn't really understand it. I mean, we kind of understand it. Oh yeah, that money's not going so far, right? And guess what? Making more is not going to help either. It feels comforting in the beginning, but the value of the dollar has gone way, way down. So what I would like to share with you right now, if I may, I'd like to share a video just to kind of set the landscape of how we all got here. And I'm not just talking about America, Canada, North America. I'm talking about the world. So if you would just let me share, I'm going to share a 9-minute video, and let me just share my screen. Share, do I have sharing? I have share. Thanks, yes. Thanks. Thank you, Rini. Okay. It'll spin itself in. I might have too many windows open. Let me just check. Let me just stop that for just a second. Sorry about that. Let me just see if I can get this. There we go.
Don't forget also to share computer sound, Tony.
Yeah, it's just all what's happening. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, can't mute myself. I've done that before. Where I've muted myself. I was like, can everybody hear that? I go, no. Oh my goodnesses. Yeah, for some reason. Oh, I know why. Sorry about that. Because it doesn't help when you're not on when you don't have your Firefox on. Hang on a second. Let me just do this, and I don't know where my stuff went. This is very interesting. Hang on a second, ladies. Very interesting. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to be loading itself. So let me just close that off. Close that off.
Do you want me to try to turn on mine?
Yeah, that would be great. Because for some reason it doesn't want to load up on my computer. I mean, it's on the window, but it's just getting, that kind of thing. Here, let me see if I can start it from here again. I just started it again to see if that'll help. Oh, there we go. Can you all hear that?
No, you have to share it.
Yeah, I am. How's that?
The sound doesn't come.
In 2008, the world was given a wake-up call. The biggest financial crash in human history was delayed by the same poor decisions that brought it about in the first place. What that massive bailout bought us was not a solution, but merely time. Time for the people responsible to wring the last few dollars out of a dying system. But also, for those able to see the cliff edge approaching, time to protect themselves and their families from the imminent plunge. And in the end, that time may prove to be the most valuable commodity of all.
There are these brief moments in history where the safe haven asset for the last 5,000 years simultaneously becomes the asset class that has the greatest single potential gains in purchasing power. We're in one of these cycles right now where money is the best investment. Get out of currency, buy money, and you're probably going to be able to buy a whole lot more stuff later. But the best thing that people can do of all is really to take on their own responsibility for getting financially educated. This is the most important thing. Don't let the banks and the brokerage houses and other people guide all of your decisions. Find out what's going on for yourself, empower yourself.
New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference.
Our story begins in 1944. With World War II coming to an end, the Allied nations met at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to create a new financial system which would stabilize the world once the war ended. With America poised to enter a golden age of prosperity, the US dollar was chosen as the world's reserve currency.
The Bretton Woods system was created after the Second World War at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. And rather than using gold as the means of exchange between countries, as was the case under the old gold standard, the dollar was going to be used. The dollar was chosen because back then it was as good as gold.
Under this new system, countries agreed to fix their currencies to the US dollar, and the US dollar would be tied to gold at a price of $35 per ounce. This meant that countries around the world could trade their currencies for US dollars, which they could then exchange for gold. This created a system where all currencies were essentially backed by gold. To avoid the logistics of shipping physical gold across the world, when countries did exchange their currencies for gold, it was usually stored safely in the US.
Under the Bretton Woods system, you could exchange your currency or your dollars for gold. Now, it only applied to foreign countries and central banks. And we began to run budget deficits. We were running the Great Society program under Lyndon Johnson, and we were fighting a war in Vietnam. And all of a sudden, we were running these deficits, and countries were changing their dollars. And they said they wanted gold. And it began with the French, and then it started to spread.
With all the new spending programs in the United States, other countries became concerned that the US was spending more money than it had gold reserves. They started exchanging their dollars for gold and demanded physical delivery, as they felt that there were more dollars being printed than the gold that backed it. To prevent this outflow of gold from American vaults, President Nixon called for an emergency suspension of the gold convertibility system.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
All of the problems that we see today in the monetary system are a direct result of the decision made in August 15th, 1971, to abandon fixed link back to gold. What gold did is it provided discipline on governments, provided discipline on government spending.
By removing the link between gold and the US dollar, President Nixon created a system where all currencies were backed by nothing. This is what is known as a fiat currency.
Fiat currency is currency that's backed by nothing except government promises. The word fiat is a Latin word, and it basically means currency that's circulating by force. If people have confidence in that currency, and if there's enough government force that will enable the currency to circulate for a period of time until people lose confidence in the currency.
There is no nation on this planet that currently uses money. We all use currency. There will come a day when everybody knows the difference.
Money is a medium of exchange, and the way it has evolved is that it's always something of intrinsic value until the modern age, when the politicians say, well, we don't need anything of intrinsic value anymore. All we need is political decree. We can say this is money, this piece of paper is money. Now money has a new characteristic, but underneath it all, there's this same concept in place that nobody ever seems to challenge, and that is that governments have a right to declare something of no value to be money, and you must accept it. That's really the problem, and it's still the problem today. It's destroying the economies of the world.
Hyperinflation may be one of several scenarios facing the world today. But history has shown us that whenever a nation tried to run its economy using an artificial fiat system, the end result is always the same: disaster.
There is a proven 100% failure rate. There is no exception to this. Fiat currencies always fail. And then 40 years ago, we tried this grand experiment where all the world's currencies became fiat at the same time, when we ended the Bretton Woods system.
The world is going to have to extricate itself from this monetary system based on the dollar, because if you want to back your currency, you have to back it with something. You can't back it with nothing. You know, I always think of that old Superman movie where the first one where Lois Lane, she falls off the top of the building and Superman catches her. And he says, I got you. Don't worry, I got you. And she says, well, you got me. Who's got you? Well, that's the dollar. Who's got the dollar? It's not Superman. The dollar can't fly on its own. The dollar used to be backed by gold. It was gold that had the dollar. Like everybody has tethered their ships to the Titanic of currencies. And so we're all going to go down.
The government wants to sell you paper. So I would say it's the government and Wall Street.
Gold in the hands of people is the way you control government. Governments cannot create money out of thin air. If it's gold, they can only create paper out of thin air. And if they can create paper out of thin air, they can use that paper to wage wars, or they can use that paper as a political contrivance to enrich their friends. And as a consequence, governments have been fighting gold all century long.
It's not that the price of gold is going up, it's that the value of the dollar is going down. The price remains constant in terms of human effort and purchasing power. An ounce of gold today will buy the same thing it bought 2,000 years ago. An ounce of gold today is approximately takes so much human effort to get out and refine the same human effort that it took to do certain things 2,000 years ago. It's the human effort equation that maintains stability. How much effort does it take?
Gold is financial insurance. And the thing about it is you own it because you want to be protected. And, you know, you just have to have it if you want to have or sleep at night, because there's nothing else. You know, if some catastrophic event happens, and we've seen them, how are you going to be protected?
So what stood out the most for you on that little 9-minute video? Anybody? It's quite something, isn't it? Now, this is an old video, by the way, because you notice how they said when they took the dollar off the gold standard 40 years ago. Okay, this video was done in 2011. Look how relevant it is right now. No fiat currency, paper money, has ever survived more than 50 years. And we're now in year 52 with this. This is done. If you look at the US debt clock, they don't even have a dollar ratio anymore to the dollar. Do you remember how they keep calling it the petrodollar?
Mhm.
Right, Rini? Okay,
Yeah.
they call it the petrodollar because in 1971, did you hear that? August 15th, when Nixon took off the gold standard. We won't even get into that little maneuver, right? Because all the gentlemen in there, they're all talking about the gold being gold back. It disciplined government spending. Well, look what's happening to the government spending right now in the last 3 years in the United States. Well, forget the
Keep
United States.
printing
everywhere.
money.
Oh, does anybody know the percentage of money the American government has spent in the last 3 years?
No.
All the money that's been printed in the United States, all the money that's been printed in the United States. So this includes, I don't know how many years it's been going now, what, 120 or something like, no, more than that, 140. Anyway, in the last 3 years, your stock of US dollars, 40% of every single dollar that's been printed has been printed. The 40% has been in the last 3 years.
Wow.
That's insanity. And that's why we're in the mess we're in. But how it became the petrodollar was that Kissinger made a deal with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, whatever deal, backdoor deal they did. Remember how they said when they went off the gold standard, governments could start, making friends. I forget what the word they said, but it was interesting. Saudi Arabia agreed to pay for oil or we could pay for oil with the US dollar. So that's how it became the petrodollar. So that kind of is what kind of set the little, the little breadcrumbs around the world to give it some type of value. But if you think about it, it's still a forced value. It's still somebody in government telling you this is what it's worth. That's what fiat means in Latin, a forced value. Okay, so that's why you saw all those others. So no fiat currency like Mike Mahoney. He's a very smart man. If you ever watch any of his videos, that was my journey. I really started to listen how he explains the debt slave system and how, he's an amazing man, how he explains it all. It's really quite interesting. I know that, because I'm in Canada, I know our system's a little bit different. Actually, ours is a little bit worse if you want to know. Because we didn't come out of a republic. We're part of a commonwealth. So everything goes to the queen. Everything goes to the monarchy. People don't think it does, but it does. It's actually quite insidious. We think that we own this. I think that I own my land and my house. Okay. They can come like that. Okay. We have a very false sense of ownership right now. A very false sense of ownership. And so the whole point of this conversation today is to really get you just for a moment, just to think about how deep we've gone into this system and how many times we have had the rug pulled, as they say. But we've been following the system. We've been doing everything you've been telling us to do. Why is this happening? Oh, that happens. Right? Okay, so we need to start taking our power back. We need to start educating ourselves on what's really going on. So now that I've done my little soapbox here, sorry about that. Just what is it in that one video that video that really stands out for you? That is just kind of like, I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you know what? I have heard that before, but wow, now that I'm really thinking about it, I never really took it the next level down of what that really means. I just get on with my life, right? Oh, thanks, Suzanne. Thank you for putting your hand up. Please share.
Go ahead, Suzanne.
At the very beginning, where they were talking about Wall Street, I'm going to show you a book I'm reading in a minute, how they protected themselves and their families without any regard for anybody else. Now, I started reading a really interesting book right here, The Soul of Money. And it's all about taking away the actual money and putting value on the humanity and on the people and their skills. It doesn't matter how much you have, but if you don't have anything to give the world from your heart, it's just a change for what we believe is money. And it's done.
Yep. It's true.
It's all continued. So I've been finding, I'm only 2 chapters in, but it's a phenomenal book.
Oh, well, congratulations for taking that step and really starting to see things a little bit differently and empowering yourself. And like I said, we're all going to find a way as long as we're doing something to educate us outside of what they have forced us to believe to be true. Because this isn't about me trying to convince you of something. What they've created out here should be evidence of enough that their system and what they've been forcing us into and trying to educate us on, which I don't call education, I call it indoctrination. But again, that's just me. Because if we were educated, we would be looking at this going, wait a minute, this isn't working. Like, we got to do something different. And yet we still go along because we haven't found a solution. So thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate that. Thanks, Suzanne.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Tamara.
Thank you for reminding me, Suzanne. This is what I took away from it, was that in 2008, when the market crashed, they expanded the time. So they manipulated time to keep it from crashing so they can get everything in order. And that affected everybody. And I knew that that was going to happen when it all happened. And when we had COVID, I was like, oh, something's going to happen. In fact, a friend and I were actually talking about it. And we're like, oh, the market's going to go down here soon. And then COVID hit. And then it delayed everything. So, and I know that it's going to happen again because you could just see the pieces falling into place. And so I'm like, what can I do to protect myself at this point? Because they're not going to protect me. I mean, I think they have good intentions, but there's just too many people. And so there's just so many people. It's like if you're working in a nursing home and you have only 5 nurses and you have 100 patients, there's no way they can take care of all of them. And we're in a government where we have so many people and millions to take care of. It's not, you're not going to be able to please everybody. So I think they have great intentions, but it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. It never has. Look at our
Never
history.
has. Exactly. It never
history. And I know they're like, yeah, but we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But every time they try to fix it, it gets worse.
Oh, bravo. You recognized that, did you?
Yes. And it's not immediate. And that's what's fooling people, is that it's not immediate. And so I've seen the bigger picture, and I know that other people have, but we just don't know what to do at that point. What do you do? So I'm like, sell the house, live in a camper, wait till the market comes back up. Like, like that's my idea. My husband's not so happy with that though.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because you bring up a couple of points. You were smart enough to see a repeat pattern. There's a pattern here. They actually created it. They know exactly what they're doing. This is exactly what the video says. This is a pattern that is repeated and has been shown to repeat itself every time. And how people are not seeing this is beyond me, because it's not like, oh, where's the evidence? Really? It's just like, wow.
Go to the grocery store.
Right. It's just, it's amazing, right? And so I thank you for sharing that you've now seen the pattern. You've now seen the pattern. But I'm just gonna push you just a little bit further. If they truly had good intentions, why have they repeated the pattern when they know that the other pattern didn't work before? Right?
I think it's like what Tamara is saying. There's a lot of people to take care of, a lot of programs to take care of.
Right? A lot of programs, because that's what they were talking about. They've only been taking care of their friends, right? And you nailed it the first time when you said, they're not going to take care of us, right? It's not us they're concerned about. It's their friends they're concerned about.
Who is they?
The government, all the banks, the hedge funds, all the ones that control the money.
That was a
There-
good question. Thank you for asking that, Sherry.
Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah.
Thank you, Tamara. Kasia, you're next.
Hi, good morning. Sorry for not showing up, but I'm certainly in a bed, so I cannot be, camera friendly yet. So I was really laughing when Tamara said about nursing homes, because I was working there, and I started laughing because I really know the system from inside out, and it's interesting because the nursing home really represents the world economy exactly. And I was working as a nurse assistant, so yes, they are hiring not enough nurse assistants, not enough nurses, because the snakes at the top of those nursing homes, they are the ones who are earning. The patients are paying thousands of dollars. I remember when I was fired from the nursing home 8 years ago, there was one patient 8 years ago whose family was paying $16,000 for his one bed. And why I know, because by the accident I opened the letter that was on his stand, and I thought it was the letter from the family. And I could not believe how much they were taking away from this gentleman. And I bet because the family was rich enough to pay that much money. And as I've learned from other movements, my movements in the industry, they always know how much you have and how much they can take from you. So if you have less, you will be paying less. But if you have more, they still try to take everything away. And it's exactly what those governments are doing with this money game, matrix money game. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And in Poland, our inflation last year was 19%. So just to let you know that this country is not alone in this game after all of our money. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kasia. Yeah.
So what's the solution, Tony? Thank you,
So,
Kasia.
yeah, the solution is exactly what they talked about in the video, is money. We thought that this was money. This is not money. This is currency. This is called fiat currency. Anything that's made of paper. Fiat, as I mentioned, as the video says, fiat means currency by force. So they've given this value, they forced you into believing there's a certain value in this, but the world tells you what it's really worth, right? And it's now gone down to almost, I think it's now, when we started learning this, it was at about 5 cents in 2013. It was in 5 cents at 2013. Well, we're in 2023 now. I venture to guess, and again, I'm not an economist, I'm just listening to the experts. I bet you this is at $1, or sorry, 1 penny now, easily. Okay, so and this time it's not going to be just in North America. This is now global. Like, Kasia says, it's happening everywhere now, everywhere. And so what I've learned now is that when you start to learn about money, this is money. This is God's money. It's been here since the age of time. Precious metals, okay, is where there's a store of value. This never goes, the store of value of precious metals never goes down in value. It's exactly what they said. What you could buy 2,000 years ago with a gold coin, you can buy the same amount of product today. It doesn't change. And one of the things, and so for me, they keep saying, Tamara actually mentioned it, because she said to her about her husband, she goes, honey, we need to sell everything and then head off, right? Well, once they do, what the top people do is they take their fiat currency and they change it into this. Okay. They take this and they change it into this. And Kasia, coming from a communist country, we've all heard the stories about what happened when all the countries went down, when Venezuela just went down just over 20 years ago. The people standing in food lines, the only ones who got to the front of the line are the ones who had this, not the ones that had their paper money. The money was thrown off. It was just complete garbage. It was like mounds and mounds and mounds of paper, like money, currency on the sides of the road. It was complete garbage. They just flipped the switch and said, no, it's useless. So the only ones who had the chance were this. So they call this sound money, which is just it's just a fancy word for gold and silver. So that's what it's really related to. And so what I've learned is that your best defense through economic times and bad government decisions, okay, and central banking, because let's face it, central banks are not your friends, okay? How many of you know, I don't know how many of you know this, how many of you think that the money that you have in your bank account is yours? Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's yours, just because it's got your name on it. Okay. How about a 2? It doesn't belong to you. I hear this all the time. Okay. It has the money that you keep in a central bank. Okay. You think it's yours, but they can flip the switch like that. It's not yours. If you read the fine print, they own it. You're just renting. That's a scary thought, isn't it? That's how crypto evolved, because it's a decentralized platform. But I want to go back to the video again about why is the dollar failing? Because it's not backed by anything. And most of the rug pull is because of that. It's not backed by anything. Well, guess what's happening in cryptocurrencies? We call them rug pulls because a lot of the cryptocurrency that was created is not backed by anything. Okay? It's your thinking that, oh, this is so much better. It's decentralized. It's a fair playing ground. It's all above board. It's on the blockchain. But guess what? Where did all those tokenization things go? Yeah, there's been a lot of millionaires created out of cryptocurrency, but I got news for you. Not any different than the average person that got nailed on Wall Street in 2008 in the crypto world. The average person has lost a lot more money than they've made millionaires. Okay. We need to empower ourselves and get smarter, right, about what's actually going on. We need to really listen to the words that they're using, right? This quantitative easing and all this kind of stuff. There's all this language that is like, shouldn't be this complicated, right? Val, I see your hand up. Thank you.
Yes, my question is, storing this gold in a safe at the bank is not the solution either, right? Because isn't that, tell me if I'm wrong, Tony, because I don't want to say things that, but I have the feeling that in 1929, when they closed the banks, you had access to nothing. If you didn't have it in your hands, you couldn't get in. So whether it was gold in the safe or fiat currency on your the bank account, you didn't have access to it either. So thinking about to store this gold is I'm thinking burying it the old ways fashion. Get in the garden and start shoveling.
Well, pirate. Right? That is an excellent observation. And this is exactly the situation that we're in. If it's in the bank, you have no control over it. I know you think you do, but you don't. I'm sorry. I'm not here to fearmonger, but that's the reality of it. Okay. We have now reached that pinnacle now where they are desperate. Okay. Does everybody understand the word? I'm going to come to you in just a second, Loveling, but I'm just going to ask a question so I'll give you a chance to think about it. Has everybody heard of the word bailout? Has anybody ever heard of bail in? Well, I'm going to explain that to you in a minute too. Loveline, go ahead.
Actually, what I wanted to say is that these banks and the government and everything, they don't have any plans for us as citizens, and they are only in it for themselves. And the only thing that I caught out that in that video, they were saying that if you want to sleep at night, then you need to invest. Either you buy gold or you need to invest if you want to have some sleep at night. So I think that's the key.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
God's money. Thank you for sharing that. That, you know, I've done posts and I've held this up in a picture. And I said, this is why I sleep at night. Look at go back to the word diversification. Okay. My husband and I made lots of mistakes. Remember how I mentioned, I said, we put all our eggs into one basket. We're fearless. Let's just do it. Let's just jump. Right. Okay. That's just our style. I don't suggest anybody do that. By the way, it's not for everybody. Okay. Thank heavens we're all different, right? Diversification. Okay. It's about being smarter with what you've worked so hard for. So Rini and I have found a solution that helps you protect and save what you've worked so hard for. And you do not have to be wealthy to do this. Okay. You do not have to be wealthy to do this. So we're going to be sharing all the details of that solution tomorrow at 9 o'clock on the same link. So if any of you want to hear that solution so that you can sleep at night, okay, and have some peace of mind and learn how, even if you just have $1, you can start saving fractionally towards God's money, sound money, precious metals. There is a way to do that now outside of the banking system. We are now creating a community, creating a parallel economy, because I can actually send this directly to you, Loveline, in 1 second. How cool is that? So this company that we're in, it's a private company. They have developed their own patented technology that is that's on their own servers. Okay. Outside the grid. So if everything went down, right, you could still exchange between each other, but the education in there is phenomenal. But I always recommend diversification. You want to hold something. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That's my motto. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. So yes, Val, you're going to have to be a little bit like a pirate for a bit. Okay. Diversification. You want some of this in your hand, but you also want to be able to do things in your everyday lifestyle where you're not, lugging around, stuff like this either. Okay. You have to have a little bit of everything. Okay. And this company educates people to understand. It empowers you to understand what's really going on. Then you can make the decision about how is it that you want to move forward in your exchanging. I don't call it buying. I'm not buying money. I'm exchanging this totally devalued piece of paper into something that has always held its store of value. I'm not buying. I'm exchanging. There's a big difference. Okay, because I don't believe in this anymore. They've proven that this is not worth anything, practically not worth anything, but this certainly is, and it's never gone down. So we want to empower you ladies to take a journey into hearing some more information about how this may and help. Again, it may be for you, it may not be for you. That's okay, but it's way too powerful not to hear the information so that you can make a more educated decision on how you want to move forward in this crazy economic landscape right now, right? And then that's what it is. They are not coming to save you. We have got to link arms together and do this ourselves. And I am so excited to have found a vehicle with some gentlemen that are so faith-based, so heart-minded, so integral that they really do care about their fellow man and what's been going on out there. We need to do this for our children, right? Or else there will be nothing left. And I'm just going to leave it with this. I know that none of you are here. How many of you are here in Canada? How many of you even know what's going on in Canada? Okay. They are pushing an agenda here that is very scary. And I know that you guys have an agenda down there too. I know what's been going on down there, but you have no idea what's been happening here. They have pushed an agenda now so much that they've now covered it up. How many of you have heard of digital ID? Okay. We have a year ago, how many of you heard about the truckers' convoy when we were trying to get the government to hear? It was a very, very, very peaceful democratic protest. Okay. It's the first time I've ever seen Canadians come together. For the first time, I was actually really proud to be a Canadian. I got to be honest with you, because I love America, just so you know. I'm just all about, I just love your passion. You guys just have some passion. Be a little misguided sometimes, but at least you got passion, right? So we don't have that in Canada. Okay. Everybody's just kind of laissez-faire, you know, whatever. So when I saw this, this was like, finally, they're waking up, right? They're seeing this, you know, they're coming together. Okay, remember, this was a year ago. Our prime minister never came out once to talk. Not one government official, let alone our prime minister, came out to talk to anybody. As a matter of fact, he ran away. And then, you're going to love this one, they're a threat to our country. And he passed a bill called the Emergency Act, labeling them terrorists. Yes, our truckers are terrorists. People who demonstrated were terrorists. This is Canada. Hello? Of course, nobody's hearing about it. And I'm going to take it one step further. People were so upset that nobody was talking to them that, you know, it was taking a long time. They were just trying to get people to, you know, talk, communication, nothing. Okay. They all stood behind their little stone wall and didn't want to have anything to do with it. Okay. So people started donating to keep the movement going. To this day, my girlfriend's friend who donated $50 has her bank account closed, frozen. She's tried to open another bank account because in Canada, everybody has to have what they call a social insurance number. The word fraud is next to her social insurance number, so she cannot open a bank account. So if you think they're working for you, they're not here in Canada, I can assure you. Okay, she still hasn't opened it. She's not the only one. Again, I am not trying to scare you, but this is reality. This is reality. You've got to empower yourself. We've got to link arms together and find a solution because they're not coming to help us. We need to help each other. We really, truly do need to help each other. So Rini and I are offering you an opportunity to come listen to some more information. This might be a solution for what you may be seeking. It may or may not. That's okay. That's okay. We just want to share the information. Okay. What's happening here is an atrocity. It did come out in Canada that not only did they close bank accounts, they even froze investment accounts. Okay. So please do your homework. Please take another step. Please look at where you are right now. And that's the best advice I can give you. Again, I care so much about humanity. And when Rini says, Tony, what's your story? Where are you going? I am so laser focused right now on reaching my fellow sisters and brothers to get them to really understand what's going on. And I'm not going to be able to reach everybody. So, you know, I can only do the best that I can. And again, I'm not here to create fear. I'm not here to convince. I just want you to understand we have reached the peak. We are like right there on the edge of the cliff. And like Tamara said, she's seen it before. She already predicted it. She saw it and it's happening. This is a repeat pattern. So I thank you so much for being here today and listening. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Suzanne, I see your hand, but before you do that, because we're at the top of the hour here, I just want to say that I've always been very mindful about money and investment. All my life, I invested in real estate, which is a great investment still to this day. But real estate is very expensive. Not everybody can afford it. And then I invested in stock and bond. Of course, as you know, stock prices went down. I lost 50%. It's not a loss because I haven't sold it yet. It's going to come back out. It's just been like that. But it's a very scary time, like what Tony is saying. I looked at this program a year ago and not for me. I'm taken care of. I don't need anything. And I keep like, it's like probably finally I said, this is so inexpensive, so makes sense for me. And finally, and the thing is, it's like it's the community that is so energized that if you're part of this community, there's so a lot of benefits beyond just the way making it easy to invest in this gold and silver with very small amount of money, that they really care for you. I just like love being part of the community. You know, like people say you're the average of 5 people you hang out with. These are the people you want to hang out with.
True, right?
But anyway, sorry, Suzanne, go ahead.
That's fine. No, I was just gonna say when Tony was talking about we get a stick for each other, it's just very synchronistic because I just wrote a post on my Enriching Lifestyles page for my bridge builders and for all the women that I work with. I said, lean on me. This is the time to lean on each other. And I put up the song Lean on Me by Michael Bolton just to, at the very bottom of the post, it says, we got to take care of each other first. It's not about the big world out there. We got to take care of each other. Lean on me because I can take you now. And then when I need help, we got to go back and forth. It's all about us now and let government do whatever, but we got to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that because that's exactly what we're doing. Thanks, Val. 9 o'clock tomorrow. If you're interested, 9 o'clock tomorrow, same link. Okay. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yeah.
I'm going to post.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to post it. But thank you all for coming to this session. It's just tomorrow, Tony and I, mostly Tony, will share the information about this community and this program, but it's not, you know, it's mostly for informational purposes only.
Yes.
You know, that's the main thing, is that you have that information to do as you wish. May not be for you. Maybe it was. At first I said no, it wasn't for me, and then finally I said I need to do this. Oh my gosh! I even bought the program for my kids. Each kid, I bought it. I even I decided I want my grandkids to be able. This is their college funds, so it's a small, very small amount, and when they grow up, the kid's gonna have college fund because this is gold and silver. And you can buy it in a fractional amount, $1. You can invest $20 a month for your own savings account, but it's in gold and silver. This program makes it so easy for you that you don't have to be lugging the physical asset, even though you can, if you want to. So it gives you a lot of freedom and choices that
yeah, and there's a lot. Thank you, Rini. There's a lot of choices in there because it's more than just gold and silver. When you come tomorrow, you'll hear about all the other benefits that are involved in it. They've got all kinds of other benefits that are involved. And for Americans, we even have we even have a health plan in there for you that beats out all other healthcare plans out there. So there's a lot of information. So that's why it's very difficult to go through. It needs to stand on its own. But I'm going to speak into what you just shared, Suzanne. we are creating a parallel economy with our members. We are looking for other people who have products and services because we can exchange between each other. If you can start exchanging directly with each other without using banking, then guess what? We don't need that because we're creating our own parallel economy. So I am physically going out there now in the real world, and I'm actually going to talk to dairy farmers and what do we call it? The farmers markets. Like I'm literally talking to physical business people going, hey, have you ever thought about accepting gold and silver from your customers? Right? Like, so literally we can do this. It doesn't take, I'm not kidding you. I am so laser focused on making sure that we are really, truly taking care of our brothers and sisters. I'm really determined about that. My heart is so full and I'm just very excited to do this. And share this.
The point is, like Tony said earlier, is that it's diversification. You're not putting all your money in one basket. I still have my real estate. I still have my stock. This is just a small amount just for security, for insurance, and also for my kids, for my legacy. But Tamara, I see your hand. Go ahead, Tamara.
So is it going to be on the coffee club tomorrow at 9, or is there another link?
Yes, it's on the coffee club, but it's just for those who are interested in learning more about this program. If you're not interested, then
absolutely,
you can invite anybody.
Yeah,
I'm going to announce it in the coffee club, what time, and the Zoom link. I'm going to put it there, but only for those of you who wants to hear more. And it's not like Tony's saying, it's not selling. Only if you want to, it's for such a small amount. The benefits is just incredible. I mean, I can't even tell you. And the beauty about this is not just for you who just want to use it for investment purposes, you can do that. But if you want to be able to have these other benefits, you may generate extra income for yourself. But that's, again, Tony will explain it tomorrow how that works.
Yeah,
so
there's lots of choices. We have so many benefits in there. Every person that looks at it, everybody's personal journey is their personal journey and the choices that they want to make or what they want to use inside the program. There's lots of choices, tons of choices. The Americans have a lot more choices than we international members, but that's besides the point. For me, it was the protection. I was looking for the protection and I was looking for the education. So that was huge for me. That was enough for me. I was just like, the rest is just a bonus.
Yeah. I mean, literally. And the community, they have this travel program. In May, they're meeting in New Orleans. So it's like what is it? Camaraderie. Is that the word?
Yeah. The community is extraordinary. The community is extraordinary. Like that should be on on the benefits wheel is our community. Like, it's just like, wow. Like you dream of communities like this because everybody's coming in with their own gifts and their own, take in this world. Like we started off, like when Suzanne said, I mean, we all bring something different to the table and you're supposed to think about the tribe. Not everybody in the tribe does the same thing. You're not supposed to do the same thing. Okay. We all need somebody to excel in their own gifts and their own talents. And then together it weaves a beautiful pattern and a beautiful community. And that's what we're doing here over in our family, in our program. So I'm very excited. So thank you for taking the time to listen. And thank you for sharing your perspectives. And thank you for your questions. So I hope to see you tomorrow. And yes, invite friends and family and husbands. Tamara?
Yes. Thank you all. We are past the time, so we need to close, but I will send the invitation and the announcement in the coffee club. So it's the same link as this link, but I will post it again. So if you're interested just to learn it, it's not a selling thing. If you just want to show up and just to learn it and then decide where you go with that, perfectly fine.
Yes.
The people in the community are so much fun that you're making new friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Tamara,
So
last one thing, maybe Tamara's got one more thing to say. I don't know. Oh no, you could.
Oh
okay.
no, she just have her hands up. She hasn't taken it down yet. Thank you again,
Rainey, for
everyone.
inviting.
Jenny, it was so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And each one of you, thank you so much for being here, and hope to see you again tomorrow. With that,
Thank you.
bye all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye.
Bye.